Alright, so I made it on my trek up over the top, and I'm at the Quakey camp here. So it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. I could continue trekking, and I could probably wrap up tonight late. But hey, I'm in the mountains. Why not camp another night? So I'm going to set up my hammock here with the small tarp over top. I think I'm going to take me a nap here for an hour or two. Kind of rest up a little before I do the evening activities. So I've already got the hammock strung up, and I'm going to string the tarp up over the top of that. I'm going to relax. Alright, so here's my setup for tonight. Well, this afternoon I actually just finished taking a nap. I just put the small tarp overhead just as a shade from the sun, and anyway, and I've got my hammock up ready to go. Got my fleece in there to for my, basically makes my sleeping bag essentially, and then I've got my backpack strung up and hung from a big carabiner on a tree, so it's up out of the way. It's handy. Easy access without it being down on the ground. My blue washcloth up top, so I can mop up my face or whatever once in a while. That's what that's for. And let's see here. And I hang my water bottles up on a tree for the night. That'll let the cold air during the night chill that water down. So I'll start off at least with some cooler air. And let me show you something else here. I'm sure you've all seen prusik loops or that sort of thing before. And get this thing out of the way here. So basically what I've done here is I'm tied off at the end of my tarp here with a shock cord, one of the short ones. What I did first of all is I came over here and did a prusik loop. So basically I did a loop and I went through it twice with the free end and then run it through here. So what that does is wherever I slide it, it'll stay put and it won't move. So that gives me an easy way to tension things without having to tie off a whole nother cord or anything like that. So that's a prusik loop, and that's one of the things I'm using here. So now I think I'm gonna get me a little something to eat. Well, I just wanted to introduce to you, now that we kind of we're getting ready to take the wraps off of this dude. This is our one-person cook set. And it includes a way to cook, a stove, you know, something to cook in. You have bottles in there for fuel. There's bottles in there for even dish soap and a scrubbing pad. So you got everything you need to clean up with. Salt and pepper shaker. You got a spork. You got a set of squishy bowls. A 44 ounce or a 40 ounce clean canteen. And there's room. One of the things that we wanted to do is there's spork, is we wanted to provide, there's the salt pepper shaker. We wanted to provide enough space in here to where you could basically store 3 days worth of basic food. This isn't, you know, deluxe gourmet stuff. And the stove we kind of been waiting on to use is the little Nano by Firebox. We couldn't, we tried several other things, and we needed something that would fit this bag and fit this set. Everything else we found was too big, or there's other things we didn't like about it. And so I went to Steve at Firebox, and I know he had stopped by our shop sometimes, even a couple years ago. He's trying to work on a smaller stove. So I put a bug in his ear, and let's do some more with it, you know. And I suggested use the same stove as the big firebox, only just miniaturize it so it'll fit our deal here. So not only it fit our deal, I mean it's good for everybody, but it's the same hinging type setup as the original firebox, and the little platform, the little grate folds down in the bottom. You've got your cup holder things here, and it also doubles as the leg on the bottom, which the cool thing is, say you have a small cup, which I can actually even do an 8-ounce cup on here, will fit. Very small. And here's the thing is, if you have a larger pot, you turn these out like so, like you got a fry pan or a bigger pot, a tea kettle or something. We've put a 3-quart kettle on there, and that works fine on it. But so when you turn them out for the pot, it also turns the legs out, so that now that gives you some more support for the legs. I don't think it'll quite fit on there now that I busted the stump off. but basically, that thing will hold everything we want. And one of the things we wanted is to be able to burn sticks or twigs. And you have 2 feed ports right here. And this is a unique to Firebox. They're perpendicular feed ports where you put your sticks, which gives you a very, very nice flame inside. Very easy to maintain the flame and all that sort of thing because the sticks cross. You'll even notice that this port is a little higher in elevation than, where is it? Then this port's lower than that port. And that kind of aids one stick laying on top of the other, to kind of help that thing work good. And there's also some additional air holes on this side to feed more air in, as well as the bottom of the stove has 5 air holes in there. It also allows, you know, your ash and that sort of thing to drop through, so the stove doesn't fill up with ash or anything like that. So it works very nicely. I've used it quite a bit. I've even used this one that I just got for the trip. But you can take this, something such as this 24-ounce mug here, Olicant mug. Sets right on top of there just fine. Does perfectly good. I can even put my 40-ounce clean canteen on there. I could heat up a whole thing of water. Of course, I'd take the lid off, but anyway, so it works really nice for that. And on this particular track, I don't have a bigger pot, but I do a 6 or 7 inch fry pan type deal on there, and that works really well. And here's the other thing we really like about it is the fact that this cook set also comes with a Trangia spirit burner. And we also, all the Trangias we sell, we actually solder seal where the top and the bottom are joined together, because some of them from the factory leak, so we seal them and then we pressure test them to make sure they don't leak. But anyway, aside from that, so anyway, you can take your Trangia and you can drop that right down inside of here, and then you can cook right on that. So now, the thing we wanted to have originally when we started this set, all we had was a Trangia with a West Wind pot holder, which that was cool, that worked fine. But 2 things: one, we had to trim the Trangia a little bit to fit it in our 2-person cook set, which I'm not showing right now. And then the other thing was, if you run out of alcohol, you have no other option. So we wanted the idea of having being able to use alcohol or to be able to use sticks. So that way, if you're out and it's convenient to use some sticks to cook your meal with, you can do that. If you're in a place where it's not handy or whatever, you can always use your Trangia on there and use alcohol. So anyway, so that's how this thing works. That's the nano stove that is now going to be a part, when we introduce this, it'll be a part of our one person camp cook set. And like I say, it gives you room to store up to 3 days worth of food. And like I say, we're talking about basic food. We're not talking, you know, cordon bleu or whatever. You get this little dropper bottle here. All of our bottles, our plasticware is all Nalgene, top quality stuff. There's nothing in here that we're doing that's cheap or chintzy or anything like that. These come in there, these long bags, the long zip top bags, and these allow you to put, this is a 9-grain cereal, and I've basically taken this cereal, put the amount of salt needed and the amount of sugar needed all inside there, and then zipped all that up. So that's all I got to do is add boiling water to that, and I've got a meal. That's the kind of basic food we're talking about, is that sort of thing. Now here's something else. This is kind of a Spanish rice that we cooked up, and then we just dehydrated it and put it in these bags. And there, when you cook that up, that's a one-person serving. So, you know, that works nice. Some more cereal. Here's some brown rice. I like to take brown rice and I cook it up because it takes about 45 minutes to steam it. Then I turn around and throw it in the dehydrator and dehydrate it down. Now in about 10 minutes I can have brown rice instead of like minute rice. And I really, you know, it's just my own thing. I like that better. And then also you got a 4-ounce fuel bottle in here, Nalgene again, wide top bottle, that can drop in the bottom of here. So you can, because we seal the stove, because we seal the Trangia stove, you can store your fuel when you go on your trip in here. 4 ounces of 3.5 ounces actually of fuel, and so that'll give you you know, full boil about 20 minutes to, kind of depend on where you're at and what's going on, but 20 minutes to 40 minutes of boil time. If you do simmer, like a lot of times we'll bring something up to temperature, then turn it down to simmer with the adjustable simmer ring that goes with it. And we can simmer for 2 to 3 hours depending. So anyway, so you can fill it up with that, and then basically you got another filling in the bottle. So anyway, so that kind of gives you that. In mine, I also threw in some cooking oil, and I actually shove all that in there as well. It all fits. So you could, if you wanted to, add a second fuel bottle, and you can still get all your food items, stuff like that. And this bag also, this is the same bag we use for a regular size tarp. You can there's actually plenty of room inside of here that you can stuff all kinds of extra stuff inside the bag around all this stuff. So it's pretty good. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and we actually had been selling a bunch of these with the Westwind and the Spirit Burner, and we decided to hold off throwing it on the web page till we got the exact stove we really wanted. Now that we've got the Nano, now we're set, because now we've got a dual fuel stove, and we're good to go with this thing. So anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up on a new product line coming on board, and we're gonna have a bunch more videos on where we show using this thing with alcohol, or show using it with sticks and all kind of stuff like that. Now they haven't run any official models off production yet. This is the 1st of August 2013. It's going to be, they're telling me, probably 4 to 6 more weeks or so, something like that, before these actually hit the market. They made this one up for me out of mild steel instead of stainless. It's going to be 5.6 ounces in stainless. Yeah, so nice, lightweight, and packs really thin. I can even drop it in my shirt pocket and hardly know it's there. So very nice. We're going to be providing some cases for it if you buy the stove alone, and some various kits besides. This is going to go in the 1-person, 2-person, and 4-person cook sets. The 4-person will have 2 of these in it. And so anyway, so very, very, very nice. We're really happy. We're real excited for this. We're actually doing pre-order right now, where we're we're gonna throw you in some bonus deals worth about 15 additional bucks that goes with that if you do pre-order before they come out. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cook a little bit of something up for me. I'm going light here this time on food. I took a lot of water with me, but because of my trek through the desert here, this is my little oasis before I hit the desert some more. But now, once that starts going, then we turn these legs in a little bit. Now I'll go ahead and put my pot onto there with some water and we'll start cooking. It's my big canteen, 96 ounces. Brought a couple of these along on this trip. Because there's no water available here. You don't bring it, you don't drink. There we go. In just a little bit that'll start boiling there, and I'll throw something in there. So you can see the intensity of the flame in there. See how because of that top being open, the incoming air is helping to squeeze that flame, so it helps center it right on the bottom of your cup. So we're starting to boil just a little bit in the top there. So this thing works very nicely with alcohol. I've only been going about 4 minutes, and it's not going to be, much longer. I'll be eating here. So very quick. With the fueling going full bore like this, I could cook 2 or 3 meals like this. So there we are. About 5 minutes from start to finish. I'm ready to eat. Everything's cooked up. So that's very nice. We really like it. Yeah, time to rise and shine, I guess. That's my flashlight. I keep it right here, so it's handy when I'm resting. If I need to turn a light on, it's right there over my head. Time to get up. Little cool this morning with that breeze. So since I knew I wouldn't need much, only just in the morning and maybe later in the evening, instead of bringing a separate jacket or hoodie or something like that, I had to bring my poncho liner for my sleeping anyway, so I thought, well, I'll just use this. Whew. Well, time to get me a little breakfast and pack up the camp and hit the trail here today. And I'll just set that down in there. And I'll strike off a little spark here with the down. There we go. Had a few ants in my cup from last night, so I'm gonna have to break me open another canteen of water here. I only need, I have cereal, probably. I only needed about a cup of water, maybe a little more. Hopefully there's that much in here. Oh yeah. We'll do about 10 ounces of water. It's a little colder this morning, so this thing hasn't, the stove hasn't flashed over yet. Like you hear the little pop when it starts coming out of the jets on the side instead of through the middle, but it'll come along here. Let's see. I'll get me a packet of cereal out. That already. Once this comes to a boil, I'll dump that in there. Alright, well, we've got us a boil going here. Pretty good boil. It's spitting that water right out of there. Okay, I'll take my little zip bag here. That's a 9-grain cereal and salt and sugar all in there. Could have put some powdered milk in too, I guess. But up camping, I don't worry about it quite as much. What I usually do is use my spork here and maneuver that little simmering down in there a little. So I've cut the flame back quite a ways, but that's enough to keep things going. When you're running a full stove full of alcohol and you cut your flame back to that, like if you're patient and you got a little bit of time, that much, you can bring things to a boil and cook them, and you can run that stove for 2.5 hours or thereabouts. So really, it's if you got a little bit of patience, you can just put your stuff on there and that will bring stuff to a boil and everything. It'll take a little longer, but it doesn't use much fuel. Alright, so we'll let that just kind of sit there for a little bit, let that cook. Right up there's a brush just outside of camp here, a little ways up in that clearing, and that brush right there, that's where I cached some water previously. In case I ever need it up here, I've cached some water here and there, and this is one of the places I like to come to, so I figured that would be a good one because there's normally no water here. So I'm going to go up there and get that gallon of water out to use a little bit for this morning for breakfast and cleaning up a little and stock everything up for heading out. Well, if you've watched my video on caching water recently, you see this looks familiar here. I really didn't plan on needing to use it at this point. I figured it'd be for some other time, but thank goodness it's here. There we go. Now we head back to camp and do some more cooking and load up everything for the trek on out of here. Well, the sun's coming up, it looks like. Was able to go and retrieve my stash, a gallon of water that I cached here a little bit ago. And this thing's just been on this low simmer while I've been gone. I had to go out of camp a little ways to go get it. This stuff's looking pretty much good to go there. So, you know, I will make a point here. Although, you know, we can run this thing full bore and you can boil water in a, you know, in this cup size here in a few minutes. Still, to me, a lot of the value is being able to throttle it down with the simmering like this, and you're not, everything isn't rush, you know. Like there's other things you can do. If you turn your stove down, you can do some other things in camp or whatever. Let stuff kind of slow cook. It's really a little better a lot of times anyhow. So, you know, just a thought. And I know you got to have the boil times. It kind of gives you a point of reference on a stove or something like that. But I tend to not place quite as much on it as maybe a lot of people. I mean, I still do it. I still check them out and all that, but there we go. Just gonna clean this out a little here, and I don't want to gross anybody out or anything, but I'm gonna make some. These squishy bowls also come in the cook sets that we do. But what I'm gonna do, because I'm kind of lazy right now, I don't feel like washing my cup out, so my hot chocolate's gonna have a little bit of, cereal in it. Not much, a few bits here and there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that on there on that slow heat, and it'll take a little while, but you know, that'll come to a simmer, and then I'll add me some chocolate. So it doesn't really matter. I got stuff to do anyhow. I don't need to have that done in 3 minutes. That's some good cereal right there, that 9-grain cereal. I'd readjust my camera so you could see me eating it, but my tripod, the head on it broke, and it's really hard to position the darn thing now, so so it'll have to be good enough. One thing I will point out here is I like to have a line above my head whenever I pitch my hammock, and I throw a flashlight and that sort of thing on there, so it's hanging right above my head. So in the middle of the night I need to turn a light on or whatever, I got it right there handy. So, and as it turned out, the canopy, and I just needed it yesterday afternoon when I was taking a nap, shield me from the sun, but didn't really need it at night, so I just kind of flipped it back. One other thing for this trip is I brought some fresh things with me as far as food. I brought, you know, some the baby carrots to munch on. I brought a good bit of grapes and stuff, a few things like that. And so those were, you know, pulled out of the refrigerator. And I'll show you when I packed my pack up, I actually put that food inside the fleece liner as I stuff it in my pack, and it keeps it cool during the day. I hang it out at night on a carabiner from one of my ridge lines, and then that allows the cool air at night to chill it again. And I've had fresh grapes even clear till today, still taste just like they came out of the refrigerator. So, you know, just a little tip there. On my knots, whenever I can, I like to do them slippery, so at the very end of the knot I leave a loop in here so I can just pull that out, and that makes it easy to get everything taken down. Well, here we are. I've done a few things, rolled up my canopy tarp and kind of organizing some things in camp and such, and just leaving this thing on a very low heat off that Trangia spirit burner in there in the nano stove. And I'm now plenty hot for a cup of hot chocolate, so I'm gonna make that up, and I'll be drinking that while I finish making up camp here. Alright, so what I've been doing, just taking my liner, fleece liner for my poncho that I've been using for my sleeping bag, and I'm just kind of stuffing it down in here. And once I get it in here, I just kind of open up a little spot in there, put my food. I've been keeping some carrots and some grapes and stuff like that. They got chilled nice through the night, so I just put those in there and put my teepee there on top so it's handy. Dry that down, we're good to go. Well, we're right on top again, so it's windy. Probably can't hear me. We came from back over there. Below that microwave tower was our camp. And there's another one right over the hill there. And there's some more towers there. Radar tower there. So we're heading that direction. Follow this mountain down the north side here. Well, back through that ways where we came from, heading on down. Got a little bit of an uphill here before we start down again, but left foot, right foot, one step at a time. Here we go. Well, bummer. I was thinking there was one more turnoff on this road down the canyon where I take to get up to that knoll up there that's got that orange pyramid shaped thing. That's where I got to get to start on down the ridge line. So I walked on down here and found there wasn't a turnoff, so I had to walk all the way back up. So now we'll head up over here. It's exhausting. I wish this was easy to do, but it's pretty darn tough for me. Like I said before, left foot, right foot, just keep on going. Well, here I am. I believe this is the highest place on my trip so far, 7642. And I don't know, this is the ruins of perhaps, looks like it might have been maybe a radar tower or site or something, I don't know. It's all down now. The big orange pyramid here that you can see from all over the place up here. And I came from way down over the horizon there. Straight off over there is the Kennecott copper. I think they call it Rio Tinto now, but I think it's the largest open pit copper mine in the world. I believe that's probably maybe 20 miles straight through from here to there. I don't know, something like that. And down in here is Saratoga Springs, and I'm headed following the ridge line all the way down to where those houses are, down to Pony Express Parkway down there. I don't know if there's a trail or what, but I tried following a lot of this. I plotted it out originally on National Geographic topo for Utah, and I plotted out on there, and then I flew it with their animation. And then I also got onto Google Earth, and I flew it quite a few times on Google Earth, so it looks like there's sort of a trail going down off of here. I don't know, we'll see. I just hope it's not thick brush, because it can be brutal. But we're at the top. Everything from here on out is lower than here, and so we'll just get on out of here. Well, this is the end of the shooting range fire from last year. They weren't supposed to use, lead only because of high fire danger, and some people were using some other stuff. And the fire started, burned all the way from down near the lake down there, clear up here 4 or 5 miles up the mountain to where they got it stopped. That's some hulking remains here. So here's the end of our fire, and got some more on that ridge down there. Gonna follow that ridge on down and then keep on getting down and down until we get down into those houses at Saratoga Springs there. And this is hot. Even the wind's hot. It's barren from these fires. It's been up here. Some of the areas you go through, the ground's black from the soot from the fire. Very hot. Now I gotta get over this rubble pile here. I get started down the other side. Well, this is some desolation up here from the fire, and still got more of it to go. See how desolate all that is. Everything just burned down to the ground. I don't know if you can hear me now. I'll tell you something that's really been a godsend for me here was my wife packed me a bunch of little finger carrot, the little small carrots. And I've been able to keep those cool and moist in my pack, wrapped up in my fleece, and splitting one of those in half, putting it in my mouth. This air is so dry. You take a couple breaths and your mouth is just dry as a bone. Having it in there, that's been a big help. Well, let's trek on here through the desolation. These birds are hovering around here. Hope I can get them in the camera. I don't even know. I can't see. Anyway, so there's where we're going, down that ridge and wind up back over there in those houses. That's the destination. A little ways to go yet. Now there's that tortuous, very steep place I just came down. All the burned out, miles and miles and hours. Just burned out vegetation, virtually no shade. It's like walking through hell. This is definitely the worst part of the trip right here. The wood here, you notice it's burned wood, has a red, looks like it was stained with redwood stain. When you get on the back side of it, it's just gray like usual. So it's I guess it's these prevailing winds carrying the red sandstone or whatever, red dust, and blasting it into the thing. These trees along here all look like they've been spray painted. Well, still more blazing desert ahead. Dead, dry, burnt. And it's pretty hot out here. Even the wind is like standing in a furnace duct. It's hot. Getting closer to the end, but I still got a ways to go. It's just gonna get hotter. Well, we've come all that way and more today, coming down all this area, all this burnt out area, down here to where we're at now, where I'm at. There's nobody with me, and gotta get through all this jagged rock and stuff down through here and keep on following that ridge on down there. And way off over there, oh man, it seems like it's a long ways yet, but we're getting a lot of the steepness out of the way, I think. Man, this is steep. This is as steep as this rock will sit here without just falling on its own. And it's rough getting through all this rubble being this steep. I got a ways to go to get down to the bottom of this. But I don't know, one step at a time. All right, got down off the beast. Dang it, I'm about dead. It is hotter than blazes down here. And now I gotta head out here and back over towards the center there. Man, it's rough. Well, at the end of the trek here, towards the end actually, about a mile to go, crawled under a small juniper and rested for about a half hour or so in the shade, but the wind was so darn hot, and even in the shade with that wind blowing like that is still just overbearing. And so, you know, I'm just beat here. I decided I might as well just get up and keep on walking. I know this looks kind of dorky, but I'm going to tell you what, it felt like an air conditioner on me. The bandanas and everything, they would dry out so fast in the dry hot air. It wasn't even worth dampening a bandana. So I got out my face cloth, soaked that thing down and stuck it under my hat and put my hat back on. When that hot breeze blew against that, man, I'll tell you what, it felt like air conditioning. So even though it looked pretty darn stupid and ugly, I had one of my old survival training guys told me that fashion is being comfortable. So I was in high fashion. After the end of the trek, I came over to the other side of Utah Lake there to shoot a kind of a side view, a silhouette of the lake mountain there, and from the south end there up to the top, and then off the north end, off the very tip of the north end, Saratoga Springs. So that was the duration of my trek. So it was tough, but it was good learning experience. We're going to do a podcast for more details on it, but stay tuned. We'll be having another little trek coming up, so watch out for that coming up, and see what kind of trouble or adventure I get into there. So Perry Peacock, Wilderness Innovation. Have a great day.